Getting a massive solar project off the ground can feel like you're trying to solve a giant, complicated puzzle, right? But what if there was a simple, step-by-step guide? Well, today, we're going to break down that entire journey into 8 clear stages, turning what seems complex into a straightforward path from an idea into actual clean energy. So what's on the agenda? First, we'll look at the big picture, your roadmap. Then we'll dive into the nitty-gritty, the paperwork trail. After that, we'll see how a winning proposal gets put together. Then comes the exciting part, the actual building and flow of money. We'll wrap up by unlocking the final financial perks and, most importantly, looking at real-world proof that this system works. Okay, so let's just ask the big question right out of the gate. How do you actually fund a solar power plant? You've got the land, you've got the vision, but where does the actual money, the millions, come from? For a lot of people, this is the most intimidating part of the entire process. But here's the good news. It's not a secret and it's not magic. It's a process. Think of it like a set of dominoes, a clear 8-stage journey where each step you complete knocks over the next one. We're going to walk through it together, connecting all the dots from that initial idea to a fully functioning power plant. All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, your solar finance roadmap. And the very first thing you need to understand is that getting a solar project funded is a team sport. So before we get into the what, let's meet the who. Let's break down the key players on the field. First up, there's you, the solar power generator, or SPG. You're the project owner, the visionary. Your guide through all of this is the fintech consultant. They're like the quarterback, coordinating everything. Then you have the bank, who's providing the capital. And finally, the EPC contractor. They're the ones who actually build the thing. Everyone has a critical role to play. And that brings us to Section 2, the paperwork trail. This covers the first 3 stages, and honestly, this is where you build the entire foundation for your project. If you get this part right, everything that follows becomes so much smoother. Stage 1 is pretty straightforward. It's all about sharing your data. Think of it as gathering all the ingredients before you start cooking. You'll need to provide all the basic stuff, your personal IDs, your financial statements, and of course, your property documents. This is the raw material that the whole loan proposal is built from. Next up is Stage 2, which is all about statutory approvals. This is where you get your official house in order. Your fintech consultant will handle getting all the necessary government registrations and will prepare the detailed financial reports the bank needs to see. Basically, this stage is about proving to the bank that you're a legitimate, credible business before they even start looking at the project itself. Then we hit Stage 3, the legal deep dive. Now, the bank's lawyers get involved, and they go through your property documents with a fine-tooth comb. They'll look back as far as 30 years to make sure there are no hidden claims or issues with the land. And why? Because that land is the bank's primary security for the loan. They need to be absolutely certain it's a clean, solid asset. Okay, with all that foundational legal and financial paperwork sorted, we move on to Section 3, crafting the proposal. This is where we take all those individual pieces and assemble them into the complete package that goes to the bank for the big decision. Stage 4 is the reality check, the valuation report. The bank isn't just going to take your word for what the property is worth. They send their own independent engineer out to the site to do a full assessment. It's a classic trust but verify step, and it's absolutely crucial for the bank's due diligence. And all of that leads us right into Stage 5, the final loan proposal. This is where your fintech consultant really shines. They take everything we've gathered so far, your personal data, the legal reports, the site valuation, and they package it all together into one comprehensive proposal. This is the document the bank uses to make that final yes or no call. And you got the yes. Welcome to Section 4, building and disbursement. The paperwork is done. Now we shift from planning on paper to putting up panels in the real world. This is where your project really starts to take shape. Stage 6 is all about construction. The EPC contractor gets to work, but it's not like they're just handed a blank check. No way. You, the project owner, are on site monitoring the progress. Meanwhile, the bank and your consultant are keeping a close eye on the money, making sure funds are released only against proper invoices for work that's actually been completed. It's a system of checks and balances. And that brings us to the big money move in Stage 7, the final disbursement. This is where you officially put some skin in the game. First, you deposit your share of the project cost, your equity, into the bank account. Once the bank sees your commitment, they release their loan proceeds directly to the contractor so they can get the job finished. Now, you might think once the plan is built, you're done, but not so fast. We're on to Section 5, which is all about unlocking the final benefits. Stage 8 is where you can turn a good project into a financially great one by tapping into some amazing long-term government benefits. So here we are at the final stage, Stage 8. And this one is a big deal. Your fintech consultant helps you file for key government incentives, like what's called an interest subvention, which is basically a huge discount on your loan interest, and also GST concessions. These aren't just minor perks, they seriously boost your project's bottom line for years to come. And there you have it, the entire 8-stage roadmap from start to finish. But that brings us to our final and maybe most important section, proof of the process. The big question is, does this all actually work in the real world? Let's find out. Well, the proof is right here. This isn't just theory. This slide shows a list of real companies that have walked this exact same 8-stage path to get their solar projects fully funded, built, and operational. These are real-world success stories. And the numbers, they speak for themselves. Just among these few sample projects we're showing here, we're talking about more than 26 crore rupees successfully dispersed. It's powerful proof that when you follow a structured, proven process, you can unlock some truly serious capital for renewable energy. So we've walked through the entire journey, from the very first piece of paper all the way to the final loan disbursement and beyond. The path is clear, the steps are all laid out, and we've seen that the process is proven to work. So really the only question left is, now that you have the roadmap, what are you going to build?